what was disease? What is disease? Because it seems to be misinterpreted. Everyone is talking about departmentalizing or individualizing disease. When you have diabetes, it's different from having leukemia. When you have sickle cell anemia, most certain it's not like leukemia, they're different. When they are not, they've never been different. They're coming from the same source. The mucous membrane of our biological structure has been compromised, meaning that the mucous membrane has been broken. And wherever that break has taken place, would determine the disease that you would manifest. Like, for instance, like we always say, if the mucous membrane has been compromised in the nasal passage, it is what? Sinusitis. In the bronchial tube, bronchitis. On the lungs, pneumonia. In the pancreas, diabetes.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 38, verse 4. Yahuwah hath created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them. Excess mucus buildups are linked to diets that include dairy products such as cheese, butter, milk, yogurt, and soy. These products can eventually clog arteries and cause sickness from bacteria. A cow's milk could easily be replaced by almond milk, which is less likely to cause disease to humans. Genesis chapter 1 verse 29. And Elohim said, Behold, I have given to you every seed-bearing herb sowing seed which is upon all the earth, and every tree which has in itself the fruit of seed that is sown. To you it shall be for food. Fruit, vegetables, nuts, grains, and oats are proven far more nutritious than animal substance originally purposed for their offsprings. In other words, natural foods that grow from land have their own purposes for all living things. Fruit specifically has an ability to replenish the human body and every reproductive organism produced from seeds. Monsanto is proud owner of many, if not all, GMO food corporations worldwide. 4 Maccabees chapter 1 verse 34 through 35. Hence it is then that when lusting after water animals and birds and 4-footed beasts and all kinds of food which are forbidden us by the law, we withhold ourselves through the mastery of reasoning. 2 Maccabees chapter 6 verses 18 through 20. Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man and of a well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh, but he choosing rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such an abomination, spit it forth, and came of his own accord to torment. As it behold them to come, they are resolute to stand out against such things as are not lawful for love of life to be tasted. 2 Maccabees chapter 7 verses 1 through 2. And it came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the Lord to taste swine's flesh, and were tormented with scourges and whips. But one of them that spake first said thus, What wouldest thou ask or learn from us? We are ready to die rather than to transgress the laws of our fathers. As seen in Maccabees during Greek rulership over the house of Judah, an elderly man, a mother, and her 7 sons were tortured and murdered when they refused to eat the swine's flesh as commanded in Torah by Yahuwah, which Moses spake to the children of Israel. The water in both tanks is from the same time and place. The tank on the right has oysters in it, and a dealt oyster can filter and clean up to 50 gallons of water in a single day. Leviticus chapter 11 verses 9 through 12. And these are what ye shall eat of all that are in the waters, all that have fins and scales in the waters, and in the seas, and in the brooks, these ye shall eat. And all things which have not fins or scales in the water, or in the seas, and in the brooks, of all which the waters produce, and of every soul living in the water, are an abomination. and they shall be abominations to you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, and ye shall abhor their carcasses, and all things that have not fins or scales of those that are in the waters, these are an abomination to you. This is why it is important for Torah keepers to read and identify every ingredient before purchasing products, to avoid consumption of dyes made from pork. There is also overwhelming resemblances to crab legs and roach legs. Although one lives on land and another in water, the two similarities that they are both created to salvage waste from the depths of the sea and Earth's surfaces. Monsanto was founded in 1901 by John Francis Quaney as a chemicals, biotechnology, and pharmaceuticals company in St. Louis, Missouri, and is now the largest food manufacturing business in the world. Here's a chart that shows countries that allow the manufacturing of GMO foods. These countries have the highest cost of medicine and death rates due to natural causes of death than those that do not allow genetically modified organisms. During a tour of Europe, I documented a trip to a Dutch market in a suburb near Amsterdam. Unlike westernized society, Europe is banned from manufacturing GMO products for human consumption. At this time, I begin to research healthier nutrition methods by reasoning of frequent disease which required treatment with medication prescribed by doctors and distributed by pharmacies. Research and studies reveal that diseases such as fibromyalgia that women suffer from are linked to the consumption of GMO foods. This disease causes severe arthritis-like pain and most often require injections to treat aches. Other alternatives to escape consequences of toxic foods are vegan diets, which are mostly said to include processed vegetables that are manufactured into solid meats. These products closely resemble dishes that are popular in demand, such as breakfast cuisines, sausages, burgers, wings, nuggets, ground meat, and endless other desirable foods, when in fact they are extremely high in sodium and preservatives that are linked to human fatality. Although we may choose to eat foods that are lawful in accordance to dietary laws, we also are instructed on how to cook and serve these foods from animals. By law, it is forbidden to eat the blood of any living thing. Deuteronomy chapter 12 verses 16. Only ye shall not eat the blood. Ye shall pour it out on the ground as water. Leviticus chapter 17 verses 10 through 13. And whatever man of the children of Israel or of the strangers abiding among you shall eat any blood, I will even set my face against that soul that eats blood, and will destroy it from his people. For the life of flesh is its blood, and I have given it to you on the altar to make atonement for your souls. For its blood shall make atonement for the soul. Therefore I said to the children of Israel, no soul of you shall eat blood, and the stranger that abides among you shall not eat blood. And whatever man of the children of Israel or of the strangers abiding among you shall take any animal in hunting, beast or bird which is eaten, then shall he pour out the blood and cover it in the dust. Deuteronomy chapter 12 verses 23. Take diligent heed that thou eat no blood, for blood is the life of it. The life shall not be eaten with the flesh, ye shall not eat it. Ye shall pour it out on the ground as water. With government approval of the sales of human flesh granted to the U.S. food industry, fears of cannibalism and abomination rises amongst us. While having an opportunity to see different continents on this planet and first-hand encounters of how these nations live, countries in Asia such as Japan, South Korea, Hong Kong, and Singapore was a culture shock, and to see animals, pets forbidden to eat and Torah butchered and for sale in meat markets.
Video is being shared on social media platforms with the claim that human meat was found inside the McDonald's meat factory in Oklahoma City. The post claims that authorities found human meat inside 90% of McDonald's meat factories and horse meat inside 65% of McDonald's meat factories in the USA.
Some nations that Americans frequent and buy food to cook meals have different morals and cultural values in regards to their diet. Some cultures not only allow pork and shellfish, but dogs, cats, rats, bats, etc. for nourishment, which are against our Creator's dietary laws. So we must remain conscious of where we eat. For Ezra chapter 15 verses 46 to 47. And you, Asia, that are partaker of the hope of Babel and are the glory of her person, woe be unto you, you wretch, because you have made yourself like unto her, and have decked your daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in your lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom. Isaiah chapter 66 verses 3 through 4. But the transgressor that sacrifices a calf to me is as he that kills a dog, and he that offers fine flour as one that offers swine's blood. He that gives frankincense for a memorial is as a blasphemer. Yet they have chosen their own ways, and their soul has delighted in their abominations. I also will choose their mockeries, and will recompense their sins upon them, because I called them, and they did not hearken to me. I spoke, and they heard not, and they did evil before me, and chose the things wherein I delighted not. While this earth is currently but temporarily controlled by lawless individuals, faith and trust in our one and only Creator of all existence protects and keep his obedient ones upright and blessed from sickness and AIDS, in flesh and in spirit. This also extends to those who knowingly transgress but genuinely repent to live righteously henceforth, because no abomination is far from possible. Malachi chapter 4 verses 4. Remember the law of my servant Moses, accordingly as I charged him with it in Korab for all Israel, even the commandments and ordinances.
Sudden death among healthy working-age people worldwide is skyrocketing. Here in America, it was up 40% during the third and fourth quarters of 2021. Edward Dowd is the author of the book, Cause Unknown, The Epidemic of Sudden Deaths in 2021 and 2022. He contends a 10% jump would have been a 1 in 200-year event, but the 2021 jump was 40%. Might COVID-19 have skewed the numbers, or was it something else? Here's a look at Gary Lane's interview.
It was mostly old folks who died of COVID with comorbidities. Then there was a sudden mix shift in 2021 and 22 and continues in 23. And my work and my partner's work points to something that happened with the employed of our country. It's been detrimental to your health to be employed in 21 and 22. And we examined the Society of Actuaries, which is an industry group for insurers that does surveys. In August of 22, they came out with a survey for their group life policyholders, and group life is a specific policy for those who onboard to Fortune 500 or mid-sized companies. You get this death benefit as kind of a freebie when you onboard, and you get 1 or 2 extra salary. Should you die, you get that. Your family gets that, or your beneficiary. You have to be employed at the time you get it. Well, this is a great business for insurance companies. And in 2021, the whole industry experienced 40% excess death in ages 25 through 64. The millennials, 25 through 44, were hard hit, particularly. The group life policyholders generally die at 1/3 the rate of the general U.S. population in a given year. And in 2021, I just said they had 40% excess death. The general U.S. population had 32% excess death.
Well, it seems like, tell us about some of these unexpected sudden deaths. It seems like there are a lot of them. I mean, just from a Google search, you can find like a lot of 12, 14, 16, 18-year-olds that are just dropping dead suddenly. Tell us more.
Right. And in my book, I talk about sudden death, and we look at the sudden deaths of athletes, which, did it happen before 21? It did. There was a study in 2006 by the Lausanne Institute in Switzerland that showed over the course of 38 years, they found 1,101 sudden athletic deaths, which is about 29 a year globally. We'd be lucky to have a month with just 29 since 2021. In my book alone, there's hundreds and hundreds of examples. So something's changed. I obviously blame the vaccine because that's what's changed and mandates. And, the naysayers will tell me it's COVID, long COVID. Well, if that's the case, why did it not affect the young in 2020? And so we have a health problem, a national health crisis, and at the very least, it should be examined and discussed openly. Unfortunately, the vaccine is a taboo subject, and it's not allowed to be discussed in the mainstream media or pretty much anywhere near health authorities.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 38, verse 4. Yahuwah hath created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them. There is only one way to ensure healthy meal practices within the dietary laws found in Torah, which is to farm, raise, and grow our own animals and vegetables. Most citizens do not have access to their own farms and grow facilities. However, we can also buy our meat and veggies from farmers who live by the dietary laws. This practice will ensure the proper feed intake to specific animals for a more healthier quality of life. Greenhouses and self-planted gardens are good ways to learn and experience farming and agriculture. Deuteronomy chapter 8 verses 10. And thou shalt eat and be filled, and shalt bless Yahuwah Eloheka on the good land which he has given thee. Joshua chapter 21 verse 42. And he finished his meal and he blessed Yahuwah. And he said to Yishmael's woman, when Yishmael comes home, say these words to him.